Hello, everyone. It's day 72. Interesting thing happened to me today, actually. Like as soon as I woke up, I of course checked my phone. I realized I had a message on LinkedIn, which normally I just get like those like ads here. Look at our boot camp, or you know, this is actually a message from a real person. So I clicked on it, and it was from a recruiter. He works for like a, what do you call it? Not a temp agency, but like, God, I can't think of what you call them. They like have clients, they find talent for clients. So like you work for them, but like you actually work at a different company that like they're contracted out for, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I got the message. He asked, was I interested in a testing position? It was working with Java. He was like, when you have a time to call, or time. So I just gave my number. It's like, I was like, we can talk now. So talked to him on the phone, got more information about the job or whatever, and he asked about a resume, which I knew I hadn't updated my resume since I began this challenge or whatever. So he was like, well, I'm gonna need it by today. So I was like, all right. So I thought I already, because I know I had made a tech like resume when I first started this challenge, but for the life of me, I could not find it on my laptop anywhere. So I have no idea where I actually saved it. I have no idea. It was gone. So I had to redo that. My portfolio is not done. He didn't ask for a portfolio anyway. But what I did was the projects that I would put on my portfolio, like I'd already polished the README. I already got the live links. It's up, and it's on my GitHub. It's live. So I added the links, linked to my repository, put like a little description or whatever at the top of my resume. And then added like education, and I even added a link to like my YouTube web development journey, just because, I don't know, you never know, they may be interested to watch it. So yeah, so I sent that to him. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not like, oh my God, I gotta jump at the first opportunity that I get. I'm not looking for a job. I'm looking for the job, if that makes any sense. I spent 11 years in a career that I wasn't too happy with, and so I'm determined to not make that mistake again. So I want the job to be as good of a fit for me as I am for them. It's like I'm really big on, all the things that you want in a good job, basically. So, but yeah, and I was thinking, I was like, well, I literally just redid my resume and I sent it out, and I was like, let me just shoot my shot. There's another company in my city that I've had my eye on even before my journey. I always used to see them post pretty regularly, entry-level position, and like an actual entry-level position with not like the laundry list of you need 20 years of experience like all the other ones. And like I kept bookmarking it, saving it, never applied. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna see what happens, just throw it out there. So I went ahead and applied. So it was one application and a resume out there in the universe. So whatever happens with that, so be it. But yeah, so after that, I continue to work on the planner application for the Odin project. I'm calling it a planner because I don't want to call it a to-do list, because it's just such a stigma around a to-do list. But yeah, but anyway, I did the basic layout for the UI. So this website is dynamically rendered. So Webpack actually generates the HTML. There's no like actual HTML in the HTML file. Like JavaScript creates it once the page loads. Excuse me. So I typed it up in CodePen just because it's still weird for me to like just know how stuff looks typing it up in JavaScript opposed to like typing up in HTML. You get that instant response, like, all right, knowing like kind of general idea how it looks before you add the CSS. So I did it in CodePen, and I added, I changed the settings to SCSS. I remember you can do that with CodePen. And I styled it how I want it to look. But instead of like, I know I see some people on YouTube, and they do it on Udemy courses a lot too. They'll literally like make a giant template string and copy and paste the code and add it to the inner HTML. But I always, like I read somewhere or saw in video that like, you're really not supposed to change the inner HTML. Just because like you're leaving like, I don't know, your site open, because that's a vulnerability or something like that. So I actually was doing document.create element or whatever, which, does anyone know like what is the proper standard of creating stuff in JavaScript? Are you supposed to literally just copy and paste a template string, the HTML and chiplet string, or are you supposed to like say document.create element or whatever? Actually figured out how to make it easier, because like whenever I do it that way, like I end up having like this giant function, all the things I have to create, add class lists, add text content, all that. So I was like, I could break this up into a function. So I broke it up into like create element function, where you pass in the type of element and the class name. And then another one where, because not everything do you add a class list to, unless you really need to style it. So I added one where it only takes one parameter, just the element name. And then I have a third one, create text element, that takes in the type of element, the class name, and then the text content. So like when you want to create something, you just call this function, and you only have to actually do the work one time and just keep calling the function whenever you need it. So that was neat. I broke up, I had like a, render UI.js file, but I ended up breaking that up because I had create elements functions, and I also had render. So I was like, render should be in render. Let me make a create UI.js. So I broke that up. I'm using ES6 modules, by the way. So that's why I have like all these different JS files, which as this project grows, I'm probably gonna end up having a lot of JavaScript files, just because I want to like break stuff up into reusable components, because like I'm using a form, I'm using a modal, like all the stuff that I had when I did the book library project, like it's kind of like repeating. So I can see like the whole importance of making components and stuff that you can literally just copy and paste and reuse over and over again. Also, I've gotten pretty good at BEM, the naming convention, like put the class name double underscore, like card underscore title header, whatever. So that way I can like clearly reuse it, easy to style, and especially using Sass, you can just nest that whole thing. But yeah, what else? Got Webpack, is still working good. I thought I had broke it one time when I broke up my JavaScript file, but I got it back right. I have the nav bar, which really isn't a nav bar, more like the title bar, because all this really ended as a title and like a little plus sign to add it to do. And then I have like an aside where I'm going to add the project names, like maybe an inbox or whatever I want to put on there. Then I have the content box. So when a person clicks on add to do or whatever, just that box is rendered each time. So like that little piece changes. It's going to be a single page application. Not going to keep going to a bunch of different places or pages, excuse me. What else? Oh, I added a modal and then a grayed out background for the modal. I haven't added the JavaScript functionality for it, but at least I coded that out on CodePen how I want to. Now I just got to put that, translate that into JavaScript to render the HTML or whatever. But yeah, I'm having fun with this project. And like, I don't know, you don't really know how much you've learned until you go to do something. Like I always say, I always big on tutorials and like code alongs. They show you like the cool things that you can do with the fundamentals or whatever. But like, you're always going to understand when you're watching somebody else do it. But like, you don't know what you don't know until you go to do something on your own, but you also won't know what you do know until you go to do something on your own, if that makes sense. Like it works both ways. Like that's why it's good to always like test yourself, see what you can do without looking or whatever. But yeah, so that, I also added the class. I have a to-do.js file, and I'm going to use the class structure because it's an object. It's just going to be easier because I'm going to have a constructor because it's going to have a title, due date, priority, description, and all that. So I coded out, for the most part, all the class plus getters and setters. I'm not sure like all the functions or like extra functionality that I wanted to have. So that's just what I got so far. But yeah, so far that's what I got. Definitely interesting. I don't know why I like dreaded this project, but like it's actually becoming fun. And like I'm trying to make it like as non-cliche but to do project as possible. So, but yeah, and I decided I'm going to put this on my portfolio. So I'm definitely going to go the extra mile with this one. So, but yeah, overall, good day. Surprising day, actually, the way it started, but good day.